What's going on, YouTube? We have a video for you today. So this pine tree back behind me, I can't tell which one it is. This one? Yeah, right there. That's the one we're gonna be going up, and it's close to 100 feet tall. I'm not sure exactly how tall, but I've got the gear out, got the gear set up, and today we're gonna be running the Speedline chokers, which is something we never get to do, so I'm super excited. Got the GoPro, I'm gonna strap it on. Let's get to it. Alrighty, up we go. So I decided to show a little bit of footage of me spiking in real time. I've got a specific technique that Dad taught me. We always go step, step, flip, step, step, flip. So it's in that order, and you don't take your hands off the flip line. A lot of people you'll see, grabbing the trunk of the tree and doing crazy stuff like that, but there's no reason to do it. I mean, you just keep your hands on the flip line, and if your spikes are sharp, if they're positioned right and tight, then you don't need to take your hands off that flip line. It really slows you down if you're grabbing the tree every single time, or if you're double tied, or whatever people are doing nowadays. You can see sometimes, I've got my hands in a position where I can, pinch in on the tree just a little bit. Right there, you see me adjust it. The distance that you're leaning away from the tree is also really important. So, but yeah, you see my hands. I can kind of grip the tree a little bit if I need to keep steady, just by bringing my hands in a little bit. But the hands don't leave the flip line, so that way I'm always moving, always going up. There's another adjustment. Yeah, I know. Uh-huh. Yeah, I got him in. So here you're gonna see me cut without my secondary tie-in. I feel a lot better about it having that wire core lanyard. That hacksaw is gonna have a really tough time cutting through that wire core. But again, it's always a good idea to tie in twice when you're cutting with any saw, powered or not. Man, I'm pretty high. I hadn't looked down yet. So here you'll see me, as soon as that chainsaw comes out, I'm definitely tied in twice. I try to make a habit of that every time. Anytime the chainsaw comes out, I'm always tied in twice. That is very important, because it can cut through cable or rope. There's Richard. I get asked sometimes how you make complicated cuts like that, where I'm holding the limb with my left hand and sawing with the right. In that case, I threw it a little bit to the left so it wouldn't hit bushes below. And the answer to that is putting your time in on the ground crew. I've run chainsaws for a pretty good number of years on the ground, and that is what allows me to be able to run them so well in a tree. There's two big components to commercial tree climbing. One part is the climbing, but another part that sometimes gets overlooked is the sawing. It's very complicated, and there are a lot of things that can go wrong with taking a saw up in a tree. It's a whole different ball game than just climbing. So make sure you know how to use a chainsaw before you attempt to climb a tree like this. So now begins the fun part. This rope that I've got right here is a rig rope that we're going to be using for speed lining. And this is not something that I do very often, so forgive me if I'm a little rusty on it. But it's something that I really enjoy. I'm not even sure when the last time I did this is. Probably just playing around in the yard, practicing, trying to be like August Hunneke or some of those really cool guys. But it's really cool and really fun to do. You just got to know a couple simple tricks that hopefully I'll be able to demonstrate here for you. So here we have the first choker coming up. It's purple, like you can see. A choker is just a little rope that goes in a circle. So it's choked onto that carabiner, and now as a result it's choked onto that limb. And so I hook it onto the limb where it cinches tight, and then hook it straight to that rope so that when I cut it, it's just a zip line that slides right down the tree. So right there you'll see when I'm doing multiple connections, you have to order them appropriately, bottom to top, so that you can cut the limbs one at a time and they'll slide down. This is a good time to explain the bottom rig system. We've got a 5-to-1 pulley system at the bottom that holds it tight. So instead of just a ground man on the bottom holding it, we pull it up tight and have it tied off to a tree where it'll hold it for us, and then try to get the exact amount of slack in it so that it just stops right there next to the chipper. And that keeps the guy from having to hold it. And we can also dump, really big pieces, like you'll see me do the top here in a second. There they go, just sliding down to the chipper. Okay, so for the top, we decided to put a notch in it towards the direction that we wanted to go. And it was already leaning like I wanted it. So all I needed to do was put a shallow notch and then rig it up. So you have to put the notch first because the rope has to go on the notch side. You can see the rig rope there, and I'll be attaching the choker here in a second as soon as I finish the notch. And that is why we use the 5-to-1 anchor at the bottom instead of holding it by hand. You're gonna have to pull it over. It's leaning backwards. So this clip I'm gonna play a few times. I can't describe from the video how perfect that log flip went. I've been watching a lot of videos on it and trying to perfect the art of the log flip. There's a bush like 5 feet to the left and a fence like 5 feet to the right, and somehow I got to land flat right in that gap. The best thing I know to tell you on that one is it takes a lot of practice and watching a lot of other people do it. So we just finished on the top stuff. Now I'm clipping the chicane in to go single line descent. I just choke it off because I'm gonna ride the crane back up, so I won't need to get my rope down. I'll just ride the crane back up with a bigger saw, get some water, that sort of thing. So hook the chicane in, and it's an easy day from there. Slide right on down. There we go. So you can see right there just how hot we keep our saws. Richard does a great job sharpening them and has got it about down to a science. Some days I get onto him, but usually he's pretty good about it. The hardest part about doing logs is figuring out how to not get pinched. So sometimes I still get it pinched, either intentionally or not. Sometimes intentionally because I've cut all the wood and my saw is just, has to be in the middle. Other times because, it's still a very tough skill. So right here I've got it all the way cut, but because we're using the grapple, it just makes it kind of difficult. So there it is. So that wraps up this job. The only thing left is the time lapse, which we've got here. You can see me go flying up the tree and then all the limbs come down. But that was a fun one. I enjoyed it for sure. Hopefully we'll get to do more speed lining in the future. It's a fun skill, but it's not always necessary. Sometimes it's easier just to drop it or just to throw pieces out of the top. So the last thing you'll see coming in is the crane. It gave me an easy ride back up to the top and helped us take a couple logs off without smashing anything. But hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like and subscribe.